And so I've been always goals driven most of my career, that I'm going to get to the end goal. I'm going to, build this construction project. I'm going to have these sales revenue. But since COVID happened and I was spending every single day trying to troubleshoot all my clients or the people that I was coaching or the teams, just constantly troubleshooting, okay, what happens now? We're now in lockdown. We need a hybrid policy. People can't come into the office. How do we capture, people's, do we need to capture people's vaccination records?
We've talked a lot about how to run the business or how to improve a team or increase the performance of a team. But can this also be used as a recruitment tool or to identify who, if a candidate would be a right fit within an organization? Can it be used in that way?
Yeah, this is a great question. I've done a webinar on this, John. I've done quite a few experiments and case studies myself. So I've been hiring people in my partnerships team, in our customer success team. And to answer your question from a hiring perspective, not only it's really good for leaders and really good for teams, it's a really great way to embrace what we call differences. So I know one of the topics we haven't talked about, which is managing conflict in teams and leaders, but often the conflict comes from when this person is very, very different from how you communicate, different in terms of how you think about things, and very different in terms of how they make decisions, and generally in their work style approach. And so often when you're recruiting, and this recruitment has not changed in terms of the last 60 years, which is very skills and experience based. John has all the tick boxes. Okay, now let's go with him. And then through the interview, how much do I understand and like him as a person, feel the chemistry. Based on that, I'm going to mentor him in the role and let's see how he does. And then we'll just continue mentoring him. So what the platform's able to do, if the team needs more diversity or to have or embrace more diverse thinking, I will have this interview, and if it didn't have the data, I was just like, I don't know, John just, had a very different approach. Just the way he talked about things or the way that he did things. And even if the person did hire that person, you may also have some miscommunication along the way from the context of this person didn't onboard the person or train the person in the right way. So one of the things we measure is what we call your convincer inputs, which is for me to get really confident and convinced about something, to take the next action, to do something basically. What's the format of information do I need that? Do I need to see it? Do I need to hear it? Do I need to be talking? Or do I need to be doing something? Now, if my onboarding and my preferences, so you always in your style so I have a high bias, I'm like 200 on hearing. I like to talk things through. I'm going to say, John, here are the 5 things you need to learn today. Here's the step 1, step 2. This is how I'm going to onboard you. But if you're really low on hearing, you could be in the minuses, and you're really high in doing. And in all of our training sessions, I didn't give you or watch you anything to do, and I didn't show you what to do. I'll be like, okay, John's got to go after 3 months. Probation's up. You're not a fit because you're learning too slow, and I just haven't seen you step up. And because even the whole training or communication process could already be potentially flawed. And then the third thing is that I also haven't embraced your very, very different styles. So I will just loosely use the term, John's not a culture fit. Because, and then we see this in the data as well, 80% of a team are very similar. So like Annie and John and Michelle, all are very big picture thinking. They move very fast. And so it feels like even within the team, there's this culture because we have the same thinking process. So normally when you meet someone and after that first meeting, it's like, it was so easy to talk to a person. We're so aligned. That's what it is. When we're looking at the motivation, we're able to see that going, how many leaders and co-founders I've seen, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are twins. Like every single thing, you have exactly the same approach. And I've seen many couples the same as well, with minus one or two things that are around, emotional intelligence, that are usually the ones that are very different. But yeah, so that's from a hiring perspective, we're able to even go to that level of detail of why it's not going to. So often when I'm coaching clients around how to use the tool from a recruitment perspective, look, this person's going to be a great new addition. They're going to be very different from the team. It's going to feel different. You're going to have to embrace, because you just told me you want a cognitive diverse team, and this person's going to add a lot of value. But there's going to be, at that initial stage, some teething, working out how to best work with that person, because sometimes it feels like it's a bit foreign. I know that the first time I worked with engineers, CTOs, or engineers in general, I thought there was like, why are they, everything's just 3 words, yes, no, like statements or facts. And, I'm the very physical kind of high fives, hugs, smiles, affective communication. And when I wasn't getting that, I was like, I think John doesn't like me. He's been silent this whole meeting. He hasn't said a single thing, no eye contact, very neutral face, like poker face. And I think he's upset, because I calibrate when you smile, when you're looking into my eyes, and you have the same body language as me, that I calibrate that as you're engaged, that you like me, that we're similar. And when I don't get that, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to read this. I feel uncomfortable. And it's taken me a long time now that I work with engineers. I was like, oh, he's just, yeah, that's he's just a very high neutral communicator. And it's not because, he doesn't like me and all of those things, that because you don't have the awareness or the data on how different you are. These are some of the miscommunications that can happen when through that hiring, training, onboarding, and retaining talent.
But some
process.
people are also very good listeners and act in a very different way, and they also are there to guide others, not necessarily do things or interact spontaneously. We're all different, and we act differently, and not all entrepreneurs are the same either. The style will be very different, and I've always wondered, there's a big difference between being an entrepreneur and a leader. You've got a manager, which is a different thing totally. So let's not talk about that for the moment. But can an entrepreneur be a leader, or is being a leader innate? Is it something that can actually be learnt to be a leader within a startup?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and a good one to distinguish, because inside our platform we measure what is this person's leadership style. And so in terms of entrepreneurs, there isn't a particular style that defines what an entrepreneur is, but it's just, so there's 3 categories of the leadership styles that we measure. The first one is what we call their motivated leadership style, that's motivated by power. So these are types of leaders who like to be in control over their times, over their resources. They're very confident. They thrive in roles where they have that authoritative, hierarchical, and so that's an interesting one that we found statistically in that top 100 million plus exits to the billions. Those entrepreneurs had high power. That was one of the motivations in terms of that leadership style. The other 2 leadership styles is affiliation, which is leading through wanting to build deep relationships and connections to people. And so you're going to spend the time, you want to, do dinners, and, you want to know this person, their lives, like have a deep relationship with that person. And so you want a deep bond. So bonding is very, very important. So they want to lead through, building relationships through affiliation. The third one is leading through achievement. So these are leaders that want the results to speak for itself. You know, they want to be able to be recognized for their achievements. And so they're going to be really good at seeing other people's achievements and then giving the accolades, going, John, that was great that you did that. I saw that you achieved that. So, and so across the entrepreneurs that we work with is a combination of the three. Some are power and affiliation, some are power and achievement, some are affiliation and achievement, some are all three. So there is no, but the ones that we found in that category of exiting 100 million plus, in that billion plus category, had very high motivations around power. And so that's kind of how we see. So we don't really categorize, can entrepreneurs be leaders? We just see the different types of leadership styles, and based on the different types of leadership styles, based on how you're individually motivated, that leadership style is going to resonate or not resonate with you. So I know now, like, because I for a long time I was motivated by power and being in the position and climbing the corporate ladder, and I worked with lots of government agencies, and titles was super, super, super important. But now in the last like 8 years, I'm like, minuses in power. I don't care about any titles. And so I'm just like, well, John is another human. We're all humans on this planet. We coexist together. I don't see he's above me or I'm above him. I don't care about titles. So I see we're all equal. So I've seen how the evolution of in terms of leadership style, I now no longer resonate. Like, this has to be the most, that most powerful leader in the room was like, wow, to now, actually that style doesn't resonate with me. I really resonate with people who genuinely want to build deep relationships and really want to achieve amazing things. And so yeah, that's kind of what we see in terms of leadership styles and how people resonate with different leaders.
I like to empower my teams to become leaders themselves. That's, to me, the best way that you can grow. But that's another story, and it's a discussion on its own. But there's so much more that we could discuss, and I hope that we'll have the opportunity to talk again on maybe so many other subjects that are also available on your website. By the way, you've got loads of tips and tricks and resources that people can use, and we'll put the link of the website below, and we'll also give a link to give people the opportunity to try an account and see if it's something for them, if only for themselves, to understand themselves, who they are. Annie, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're welcome, John. Thanks so much for inviting me. And yeah, the platform's completely free, so it's not going to cost anyone anything to go in and check out their profile.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John.